What is up, you lab rats? It's Darian of Lab Shenanigans. Today's fabulous guest is one of my friends, Jenny Wong. We talk about meeting each other at the Biomedical Engineering Society conference, her amazing PI, and what she's planning to do after she gets her master's. Enjoy! Recording in progress. Hello, everyone. Today I am joined by a wonderful, gorgeous guest. Her name is Jenny Wong. She is in her fourth year of her undergrad at the Arizona State University. She will graduate with a BSc in Biomedical Engineering this May and will graduate with her master's in BME May 2023. She's also a student of Barrett the Honors College, and she told me that she has a really big fat ass. I'm kidding. But she did say that she slays the house down, boots hunty, yes, God, oh, and so how's life?
Oh, life it's going. It's really going that, a couple months before you graduate is really setting in where you have so much you want to do, but you don't really want to do it, but you have to do it. Like typical senioritis that we've all had since our first year. But
I literally was going to ask you that. Is your senioritis worse now or is it worse when you're in high school?
Oh, well, when I was in high school, I was just built different. And so I never even got a chance to have senioritis. I don't even think I have senioritis now because I'm still working really, really hard for the things I'm passionate about. But
True.
Maybe I think I'm just old now. I feel like grandma-esque, if you know what I mean.
Girl.
And I just want to stay in.
Senioritis was worse for me my senior year of high school because I think there was less pressure to do good because I knew that I was going to go to college and I didn't really care much. But senior year in college was when I had to get my shit together and then think about the future and okay, I have to apply for either medical school, graduate school. So shit's getting real, overload of stress.
I think I'll probably feel that a little bit more next year after I graduate with my master's because I have a game plan now. None of that real world stuff has set in because, in my head, as long as I'm a student, I don't have to worry about that, which is why I'll get a PhD and I'll just never stop being a student. So I never have to be a real adult.
Are you getting your PhD or master's? I'm sorry.
I'm getting my master's. My school has a program called 4+1 where basically you can do a lot of your master's courses, half of them or so your senior year of your undergrad. And then so you can complete your master's with just one additional year, hence 4+1, 4 years of your undergrad plus 1 year of your master's. And after that, I want to go get my PhD. I was pre-med for the longest time. And then I just sat down one day and I was like, this is not what I want to do anymore. And I shouldn't pigeonhole myself into a career just because my 5-year-old self was I'm going to be a doctor.
No, that's good.
I thought about it and I talked to my PI about it. And she was like, honestly, Jenny, PhD seems good for you. Go for it. So I'm going to do that. I just don't think I want to do it in engineering.
So you switched to the better side.
I switched to the dark side.
Oh, I mean, that's good because a lot of students, when I read their personal statements for med school, it's very common for students to say, I want to go into med school because I've always wanted to go to med school, which is not honestly a good enough reason to even pursue medicine. I actually just talked to a friend yesterday. Well, yesterday's will probably be last week's episode with Kim Koo, and she made a great point that you have to understand the logistics of being in medical school. It's not just wanting to do medicine, but you have to understand the management business side of everything. And it does take a mental toll on you. So kudos to you for thinking all that through and wanting to pursue research. Are you still going to pursue a PhD at Arizona State University?
I mean, I'm thinking about it, but I'm born and raised Arizona. So the first time I moved out of my parents' house was when I moved to campus. And my parents still live in the same house. So I basically had the same house my whole life. While I love Arizona, I'm kind of itching to get out. So I'm looking at maybe doing a PhD somewhere else. But I really do love ASU. So it's not one of those things where it's I have to get away. It's just more of those things that I want to be able to expand upon my life and not just my professional life, but my personal life, push myself in those boundaries. And I think moving away from a place I've called home for so long would be really good.
What state would you want to live in?
Well, I can't do cold.
Same.
Parents did me dirty by raising me in Phoenix, but it's raining right now in Phoenix. I don't understand the concept of weather at all. Like you could tell me it's 68 degrees and I don't know what that's supposed to feel like. So I don't I don't know how to dress for it. So like somewhere warm and sunny.
Same here.
Humidity is not terrible. So like maybe you'll see me in Texas with you.
Not Houston, girl. Houston has really bad humidity. It's so humid because we're right by Galveston.
That's true.
We're right by that oily water and the Gulf of Mexico. So yay, BP. Yeah, like I really want to move to Cali.
I wanted to move to California too, but it's just very
expensive.
So expensive.
Yep.
I don't got that California money.
The really good thing about Houston is that we have good food. We have good Vietnamese food, and it's so cheap down here.
That's true.
Gas prices are like $3 right now.
Crazy. They're like $4 right now.
Oh no, babe. Okay, yeah. Before it was like $2.60 for a while with a Costco membership, and then it bumped up to like $3. And I thought that was already expensive, but $4, no.
I drive, so the nearest Costco to me is like 5-7 miles away. So I drag my friends that have Costco memberships with me, and I'm like, we're gonna go get gas. And then so we go. I bring them in my car. I fill up my tank. It cost me like $60 to fill up my full tank. And then I'm like, all right, spend $60 in gas. Let's go reward ourselves with a churro and a hot dog from the food court.
Wait, but it depends on like how often do you fill up your gas?
Well, I drive a lot, so I feel like I fill up like at least every 1.5 to 2 weeks.
Oh, holy moly.
I also don't get great gas mileage because it's an old car. I mean, she's a 99. We take great care of her, but...
How's undergrad life for you? What are you studying?
Okay, so undergrad life for me has been pretty great, minus the whole like lost 1.5 years, 2 years to COVID thing. Overall, it's really good. I'm studying biomedical engineering, and I have an emphasis in our biological devices track. There's 2 tracks. We have a biomedical devices and a biological devices. And the biological just spoke to me because I'm really, really into like stem cell technology, tissue engineering, and I'm less interested in like microcomputing and circuits. So I just kind of went with the track that spoke to me. We all take like the same core classes. So we all take like our intro to BME. We all take product design classes together. We take thermo, we take transport, we all take numerical methods, we all take circuits, like stuff like that. But when you get to your upper division classes, we start to specialize a little bit more. So the biomedical devices track takes like microcomputing and signals and systems and bioinstrumentation. And then the biological track, which is what I'm on, we take like tissue engineering, biological control system.
Wow.
Oh, we take like a cell biology methods class. So different things that we can focus on just to kind of align with our interests that we have already.
Which class is your favorite one so far?
My favorite class, well, I'm also biased because my PI taught that class, but my favorite class that I've taken so far has been biomaterials. Ooh. I really, really liked it. I think the class setup was really great. The lab was really interesting. And it was just one of those, I think I also liked it because it was one of those like core classes that everyone in BME has to take. And so because of that, you got to see a lot more people instead of just the people that are in your track. So.
Did you decide to join your PI's lab because of the class, or were you already in your PI's lab?
I was already in my PI's lab. So I joined Sarah's lab, Dr. Stabenfeld. Okay, it's one of those things where like she introduced herself to me as Sarah. And so I've called her Sarah for as long as I've known her, but then I forget that in professional settings, I should definitely say Dr. Stabenfeld. Anyway, so I joined Dr. Stabenfeld's lab in 2019, so at the end of my first year here. And I definitely joined the lab originally because I knew to get to med school, like I needed to have some sort of research component. And I heard that looking for undergrads to help them with some data analysis thing over the summer. So I just like kind of slid in and I was like, hi, I'm here. I'm willing to stare at a screen all day and like do your Morris water maze analysis. And she's like, perfect. And then I completed everything. And then she's like, if you want to stay, you can stay. And then I like picked a mentor and I picked our postdoc in our lab and I've been with him ever since.
Oh, you said Morris water maze. I'm like, oh, I did that too. How did y'all conduct it? Like we did, for those that don't know what Morris water maze is, it's a mouse behavioral assay where it tests for spatial learning and spatial memory. Mice are placed in a circular pool, and in one specific quadrant, there's like a platform that's slightly underneath the surface of the water. And so the subject mouse is like placed in a quadrant on the opposite side of the platform. And mice are placed in and they swim around until they find the platform. And these subject mice they go for about like 40 trials. And then over time, they learn where the platform is by using visual cues on the walls. And they kind of get a feel of where they are at. And then the very last trial is the probe trial, where the platform is removed and the subject mouse is swimming in the pool for about a minute. And then they swim to the quadrant. And generally, healthy mice will spend most of their time in the quadrant where the platform used to be. But yeah, it tests for spatial learning and spatial memory. Did y'all do it like that too?
Basically, that's what we did. And a lot of our work in our lab has to do with traumatic brain injury. And so we were
Yeah.
kind of we're using that after as kind of one of our gauges. But I didn't do the actual experiment. I hopped on right at the end when it was literally just data analysis. So it was me just
Mm,
plopping the videos into ImageJ and tracking their like swimming patterns and seeing how long it took them to get there and stuff like
yeah.
that.
Image J, our best friend. Literally everything is done on Image J, at least in my old lab.
No, we use a lot of ImageJ. And then recently I've been using actually Photoshop and Illustrator
Posters?
for like making figures, yes, for
Yeah.
posters, but also for measuring cortical lesion and like an
Oh,
injury area because you can
yeah.
highlight it, you can fill it in, and then you can use that and you can use like a pixel to millimeter ratio or centimeter ratio to kind of calculate the area for you.
Mm,
From what I've seen and like what my mentor Reed, who's the postdoc in our lab, has said, is that it's just better because you know where the cortex is supposed to be, but Image J isn't necessarily going to know. And with
mm-hmm.
some of the injuries, there's like more injury than you can see because like the cells start to like merge towards that injury site. And so it kind of meshes the tissue. So just because there's not like physical tissue missing doesn't mean that there's not an injury there, you know?
I see. I see. I got a feel of your project when we met in person at the BMES conference back in October. And and I'm not saying this to like gas you up, but it's one of the better posters that I've seen. And I think your poster is like a good example of what it should look like, where there's not a lot of words. The pictures are beautiful. If I were to walk by, I can tell what your research is about solely by looking at the figures.
You're gonna
And
make me cry.
cry, bitch, fucking cry. And and it was really good. And I don't know if you remember, but like I was just standing there watching your presentation, watching you go through like 4 or 5 cycles of just repeating the same thing over and over. And I would ask questions that you already knew so that whoever was listening, they would be like, oh my gosh, like she's answering these questions so well. I was trying to gas you up, girl. I was trying to gas you up.
You were the best hype man ever. Especially considering I met you like maybe 24 hours earlier.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So for those that don't know, I met Jenny at the BMES conference right when I entered the hotel. I don't know Jenny at all, y'all. I don't know her prior to this moment last October. So we've only known each other for what, 5, 6 months?
Yeah, like not even a year.
I was invited to give a talk at the conference. So I hopped off the plane at LAX with my dream,
LAX with your
my
dream.
cardi.
Your
Yeah,
cardigan.
exactly. And then I Ubered to was it Marriott?
Yeah, I think it's a Marriott.
There's a Marriott hotel. Yeah, the one in Orlando. What's it called? The World Something Marriott in Orlando.
The World Center. Yeah.
I was hungry. So I went to the restaurant inside. It was hella packed. The funny thing is that I wasn't too particularly nervous about this talk or this conference because I honestly thought like no one's gonna know me. So there wasn't, I don't know, like a lot of pressure to
You as you are a science influencer on social media and you go to a scientific conference full of a bunch of nerds and you go, no one's gonna know me here. What
okay,
was that thought process?
well,
Like?
because y'all are engineering, and I'm like, I'm not engineering, I'm biochemistry. The thought process wasn't there. Nothing was clicking. It wasn't clicking. I'm sitting outside waiting to be called into the restaurant. And then once I get called, I'm walking in waiting to be seated. And then I hear, oh my God, are you laughing?
No. Okay, so on my side of the story, I'm sitting there and I'm eating lunch with one of the guys in the group next to us because we all got to the conference like the night before and we all just sat in our balconies and we were just talking over the balconies to each other. And so like we got his number. We were like in between plenary sessions and watching other people's posters and we're like, let's just go grab lunch. And so we grabbed lunch at one of the restaurants that was open in the hotel. And we're eating and we're sitting there. And I look up and I see you, but I could not for the life of me figure out how I knew you. Like you looked so familiar. And I was sitting there and I was racking my brain because you're also wearing your mask, like a nice, respectable member of society as like would be. And so I was sitting there and I was like, how do I know you? And then it just clicked, but I didn't even get a chance to process that it clicked before my mouth opened. And it just was like, sorry, but like, are you laughing? And he was like, yeah.
And then the anxiety kicked in, and I was like, yeah, yes. We like said hi, and then I got seated. I was eating lunch, and then I think you were done eating your lunch, and then you came over to my table, and then we chatted a bit. We took a couple pictures. I think on my phone.
Maybe we took them on my phone, and then you were like, oh, text them to me, and then you gave me your number. And then so I texted them to you.
Generally, I would ask people to just airdrop it to me, but my airdrop wasn't working. So I told you to text it to me. And then you had my number. Don't make
it sound like I'm
and then and then you started FaceTiming me. You started calling me. I'm just kidding. She didn't do any of that.
Oh my God. I told my girlfriends who I was at the conference with, I was there with 3 other girls from my school, Tina, Jay, and Grace. And so in our little like Orlando group chat that we made the advanced conference, I texted, I was like, guess who I just met? Sent the pictures. And my friend Jay was like, no. Right. And she's like, Jenny, I have to meet him. I was like, okay, well, I mean, I can invite him out to dinner with us later. And then so I texted you to come out to dinner, and you came out to dinner, you met all the girls, and it was a really good time.
It was so
And then we had all our talks
fun.
the next day.
The dinner was really good. Was it Cuban food?
I honestly do not remember. I just remember the vast amount of food that we got. It was so much food.
I want to say it was Cuban, but it was so good. And so I'm really glad that I got to grab dinner with y'all, because y'all were such a delight to talk to. After dinner, we decided to also grab drinks by the poolside.
Oh, yes, that was so fun. And then, of course, little Mister, no one's going to know me here, was the star of the show at the pool. I swear I have never had that many eyes on me in my entire life. I'm like, what am I looking at? I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot I'm with him. That's why.
Yeah, it was bizarre where we were just sitting by the poolside, and then people started looking at us and then approaching us. And then when we walked over to the hot tub, our group just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, yeah, it was interesting. But it was really nice. I love talking to all y'all. Also, I gave my talk the very next day. Then you asked me, are you going to the bash tonight? I was like, what bash?
Yes.
The BMES conference rented out Universal Studios from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I didn't even know about this. And y'all were like, oh, we have an extra ticket. Would you like to have our ticket? So I ended up going to the bash with y'all. That was so fun. We went on all the rides we wanted to, at least like 2 times.
Do you remember the time? What was the one that we did where it just like shot you up and then it like bounced you down for a little bit and dropped you down?
It was Dr. Doom's ride.
Yes. And the way that we would just go and then we would get each other and we'd immediately just run back in and go again. And then the time that we just asked the person if he would just not unhook us because we were too lazy to go back through the entire like waiting thing. Mm-hmm. He was like, well, there's no one behind you. Oh, that was so fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I felt bad for Grace because she watched all of our stuff while we kept going on the rides, because I don't think she likes roller coasters, right?
Not a huge fan, no. But she got those really, really cool pictures with the characters.
While she was holding my phone, she took a lot of great photos and videos that I'm actually planning to upload on YouTube. Oh, wait, I didn't tell you yet. You're going to be in my one of my YouTube videos.
Miss Girl, what?
Yeah, when we're waiting in line for, what's that ride called? The Velociraptor ride? Something like that.
Something like that.
And you had my phone. You were like jokingly vlogging with it.
Stop, but you're not actually using it.
I'm using a little bit of it because it's cute. It's cute.
Oh my God. You're doing me so dirty.
It's so cute. Like, you're so funny. I think that was my last day, not my last day, but my second to last day at the conference. And then the next day I left to go meet up with my other friend. Y'all made that conference so memorable for me, and I had so much fun. You're one of the few people that I like still keep in contact with at that conference. You, Jay, all of y'all.
Cry again.
LOL. Let's stop cry. Cry for me, bitch. Cry for me.
I'm just a little baby sometimes. It's fine. It's no big deal.
So I have a question, like, what is your research lab like?
I absolutely love my research lab. I listened to your other podcast and I know y'all were talking about that. And I really think I lucked out when I listened to stories like that because
Hmm.
my community within lab is so nice and it's a great
That's
learning
good.
environment. All of us have our own little quirks that work really well together. I think the great thing about being an undergrad in that lab is they know that we're learning.
Hmm.
And so they understand it's like part of the process and we're
Aw.
going to ask questions. And the questions that we're going to ask might be stupid to them, but for us, we have no idea. The amount of times that I've had to ask my mentor Reed to double check my molarity calculations and like my M1V1 calculations just because I want to make sure that I do it right is kind of crazy. But the culture itself is amazing.
That makes me so happy to hear that you're in a very healthy environment. Can you talk more about no, you talked about your project a bit.
So I'm doing something a little bit different right now because back when I met you in October, I was doing lower motor neuron degeneration following traumatic brain injury, but looking at the cervical spinal cord.
Hmm.
And I have since graduated to the brain, some big girl stuff. But now
Ooh,
I'm looking at cortical lesion and injury in comparison to TDP-43 pathologies.
I
And that's
see.
what I'm doing in the research lab. That's going to be my honors thesis for Barrett, which I am defending in like a month or so.
Ooh, are you nervous?
Well, I mean, I signed up for my defense date. I just don't have a thesis to defend yet because it's not written. So I got to write it. But other than that, it's fine.
Is it going to be on Zoom or in person?
It's gonna be in person and on Zoom. So
Ooh, am I allowed to attend?
maybe only you. Maybe I'll just allow you. I'll send you the link.
I'm gonna like broadcast it live on Instagram.
I will cry. Please do not do that. You've already called me out one time on Instagram for my little period thing on my poster.
Oh, this bitch on her poster. I was like, something looks a little different. And then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot a period right here, so I just used a Sharpie. And then I like posted an
Well, the
Instagram
poster
story
was
about
already
you.
printed. The poster was already printed. It's not like I would spend another $60 to get a print done because I forgot a period. Like,
Let me stretch out my legs because my crotch is a little cramped. Okay.
it was
All
the
right.
low whisper for me. It was like this is a secret. I want everyone to know as I say it into the microphone.
No one can hear, only you. So, hi guys. This is scientifically ASMR. Anyway,
But yeah,
okay.
no. But no, my PI is also like, she is a fantastic role model. Like, I think I've told her multiple times that I just like want to be her when I grow up.
Aw,
Like, she just got elected to the American Institute for Medical and Biological Engineering College of Fellows.
slay.
And it's so cool for her because she was talking about how like a bunch of her mentors when she was coming up were
Mhm.
fellows and now she's a fellow. And I was just like, it just like makes me happy and so proud to be in her lab.
Honestly, it's just so empowering to hear a lot of women like lead up and get all these amazing roles and awards. Women in STEM.
I am a woman in STEM.
I
Bunsen
am
burner.
woman. I am. Do you know that song?
Yes, I do, but I'm not going to sing because I already hate my voice. I need to hear my singing voice on a podcast. Good Lord.
Girl, you and me both hate your voice. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
All right,
I'm
guys, so that's the end of the
kidding.
podcast.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. But okay,
oh
I
my
think
God.
it's so amazing to hear that you love your lab. I get a little excited just hearing how amazing your PI is and how inspirational
Yeah.
she is to you.
Yeah. I honestly think I really lucked out. I lucked out on a lot of different things. I lucked out on a really good lab. Like my senior capstone group is absolutely phenomenal. I love them to death. And like our project is, I think, going to go really, really far.
Mm.
But
Well, yeah, I
yeah.
think you're in a lab that like really fosters like a healthy learning environment. You guys are allowed to ask any question you want to, and it really does help the learning process. You also mentioned that you're working on this. Am I allowed to talk about it? This we FaceTime last night, and then you told me
Oh,
how
yes.
that one thing
Oh,
you're like, I gotta
yes.
sign an
Yes, yes,
NDA.
yes.
Blah, 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 ow. So can you talk more about that?
Yes, we can. So like I was talking about my capstone group. So my capstone group is three of my best friends that I've made in college in BME, Sean, Jason, and Haley. I love them to death. I don't think you've met them before. Sean, Jason, and Haley. I
Wait,
feel like what
Sean
you've
who?
probably done is Sean Stanek, and
Wait,
then Haley
really?
Ellis, and then Jason
Wait,
Mayo.
I know Sean.
How do you know Sean?
No, I'm just messing with you. I don't know Sean. I just wanted to see your reaction.
Okay, no, I was about to say that you probably only knew them because you've probably stalked them from my Instagram. You probably little nosy little Darian was like, I'm just clicking my tags. I just want to see who they are.
I do that with everyone though. When they're like, "Oh yeah, I went to school with Bob." Bob who? Oh, I went to school. You don't know him. His name is Bob Johnson. I know Bob Johnson. Wait, like we used to do this together. Really? No. I just wanted to see how you would react. So it's all a joke. I'm just messing with you. I don't know. I'm sorry. Continue.
But no, they're three of my best friends that I've made in BME. And we're working on a device to help. It's a small blood volume device that is going to, the goal is to be able to help diagnose Alzheimer's in the mild cognitive impairment phase, and just, it's basically like taking scientific experiments and demonstrations and translating them into a workable prototype. So what we're working on right now is a proof of concept, because we want to make sure that the ideas and the mechanisms can actually be used practically to help better the lives of people who suffer from Alzheimer's.
That's so cool.
Super duper fun.
And how long have you been working on this?
We've been working on this since about October. So
it's fresh.
Yeah. So our engineering college, what we have is like a senior capstone. And so your senior year of your undergrad, you go through and you create these groups, at least in BME. I don't know how necessarily how the other engineering colleges do it, but for at least for biomedical engineering, we create groups and we pick these projects. They can be, excuse me, I just burped. They can be self-selected.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Or rewind to when you did it before, and I was here applauding you. So you create groups, and then you pick a project and you work on it for the whole year. So you work in a first semester and second semester, and then you have these symposiums at the end of the semester where you kind of recap what you've done. Our device is something that we've all talked about and we want to continue to pursue after undergrad. And I think it's going to be something really, really cool. Obviously, it's still proof of concept. Like, it's going to be ages before something like this develops. But I always liked the idea of working on something novel that is going to help change the lives of people.
You literally just described every research paper. No, I'm just kidding.
No, literally every research paper. I feel like you can't have a research paper without like novel this.
Yeah.
But
there's always that part. It's like we discovered something new. However, we see it didn't work out X, Y, and Z. So this warrants further investigations, further studies to examine X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, basically.
How long does it take for this stuff to get, I guess, approved and rolled out?
When you go through the FDA regulations and everything, it'll probably be like at least, I want to say 8 years.
Yeah, we're just throwing numbers. What if we're just lying and then our listeners are just like, oh, okay, but we're just pulling these numbers out of our asses?
Oh, you mean like when you lied about knowing Sean Stanek?
I do know
kind of
him.
Crazy, kind of wild.
We're like best friends, actually. He's my number one on he's my what's it called on MySpace? He's on my top 10 on MySpace. Did you ever have a MySpace?
No, I didn't, because I think that having children on the internet at that young of an age, I definitely had flip phones growing up. In middle school, we had the nice little slide phone, sidekick things.
Yep, I remember. I had a Nokia phone for 3 years, and it just
it probably still works just fine.
Pretty much.
Probably still in perfect condition. Yeah.
The battery life was really good because one time I left my phone in my backpack, and that backpack was in my friend's car for 2 weeks, which I don't even know why at the time I didn't pick it up. But anyway, left my phone in my friend's car for 2 weeks, still fully charged when I got it back.
That's crazy.
Battery life was so good. I miss the good old days back then when life was so easy and all I had to worry about was just getting an easy A in classes and getting ready for high school. Now I got to get ready for college and overcoming depression.
Get ready for stop. I knew you were going to take it that way too. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for your shoe to drop.
But anyway.
So my capstone group and I have talked about it, and it's something that we still want to pursue after graduation. So
Slay. Hunty.
It's like a very small startup company. And by small, I mean basically the only people who exist at the company are like my capstone group and then our mentor and then the originators of the idea. Hot. And so we all have like these fancy titles, which is super fun.
Oh yeah, what's your fancy title?
I am Chief Engineering Officer at All's Bios.
Wow, that sounds very profesh. Wow, that's good resume material right there.
And then they're gonna ask me what I did, and I was like, just proof of concept.
But slayed.
According to the articles of the company, that's what I am. So
can you type it in the chat what the website is? I kind of want to look at it right now.
I don't even know if we have a website.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, well, I mean, it is a bit secretive, right? So
a little hush hush. But we are going to a conference, the MRS conference in May. It's in Honolulu, Hawaii. So we're very excited.
Wait, shut up. Because I might be in Hawaii. You're not telling
me that you're going.
I might be. Not. Well, no. I'm not going to that conference, but my friends and I are planning to go to Hawaii in May.
Wait, what part of May?
I think like the later half, towards the end.
Okay, because we're going at the beginning. The conference is from like, I think May 8th through the 13th. And our commencement ceremony or like our graduation ceremony is that Thursday on 12th. So basically we're going for the first half of the conference and then we're flying home to graduate.
Oh, dang. She's a busy girl.
Yeah. But dang, that would have been so fun. Well,
Well, I'm going to visit you in Arizona. Remember?
As you should.
And then you're going to let me crash at your place. And then we're going to party till 1 a.m. And then I'm going to pass out on your couch.
No, girl, my bedtime is 9. We're not doing that.
Honestly, going to bed at like a reasonable time at my age, okay, I'm 27, is literally so refreshing. Going to bed at 10 p.m. and waking up at 8, oh my gosh, feels so good.
I think we should normalize going out at an earlier time. So I feel like instead of like say a pregame starting at 10 p.m., I think our pregame should start at like 7:30.
Yes.
We should go out by
8:30.
Yes. We should all be done getting out, having our fun by like 11, so we can all be in bed by 11:30.
I think that sounds
full
good.
8 hours of sleep.
Yes. I've always been that type of person where I pre-gamed around 8, but it sucks because like clubs don't get lit until 11 p.m.-ish.
But if everybody decided to just move the time.
Yeah, you're right.
Earlier.
You doing that reminds me of Patrick from SpongeBob. What if we move this to here? Problem solved. Yeah. Do you know what meme I'm talking about? Please tell me.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, you look so lost. I was like, please.
I now know, based off of my previous experience, that it doesn't exactly make sense for me to have like a concrete life plan that I want to follow to a T, because life changes. It's fluid. It's obviously not going to be like that. Yeah. So I know I want to pursue a PhD, but I also don't know what my life is going to be like in a year when I grad. Like, I don't even know what my life is going to be like in May when I graduate from my undergrad, let alone next May when I graduate from like with my master's. And so if at that time, what I need in life is I need to go find a job and I need to make a living for whatever reason, like I'm going to go do that. And if I find myself in a position where I am able to go pursue a PhD right after my master's, I'm going to do that. But I don't know where I'm going to be in my life. So I don't want to say I'm going to do one thing and like have this plan, because obviously my plans changed because I thought I was going to be a doctor for the first 20 years of my life. So I am still going to be a doctor, just a different doctor, a PhD doctor, not an MD doctor.
Girl, a doctor. It's good that you have an open mind, because I think a lot of people can be too hard on themselves if they don't follow their agenda and their schedule. A lot of my classmates in college, I know, definitely hit that quarter life crisis because they weren't able to follow their to-do list in life. And I think that's completely fine. So kudos to you for having an open mind and accepting whatever comes your way. Slay, mama.
Thank you.
So my next pregunta is, do you have any advice for my followers? It could be any advice. Life, school, Research?
Life advice, the thing that I have learned probably over the past 4 years is that people come and go, and that's okay. That has nothing to do with you as a person, and you should not let that impact your decisions. If someone decides that they don't want to be a part of your life anymore, that's not a direct reflection on you. And there's no reason to keep energy in your life from people who don't even want to be there. That's definitely
Ooh.
something that I've learned over my undergrad that has been really hard, because I've had friendships with these people that I thought I was like, there were going to be lifelong friendships, like friendships from high school, all that stuff. I was like, oh yeah, like we're going to be friends forever. And it's like really, really hard, because I'm the type of person that I really like to invest into people, and I don't like to give up on people. And I am the type that gives like second, third, fourth, fifth chances. And it was just hurting me in the end. And so I had to learn how to prioritize myself and set those boundaries. And if someone doesn't have to go through what I have to, and they can just kind of hear me out and listen to that and just kind of apply it, I think that'd be really nice. Research advice, I would say you get what you put into it. So if you want to really, really learn what you're doing, and you don't want to half-ass it, and you put in that effort, you are going to be a well-rounded researcher, and you are going to be the ones that college or like your PhD programs, your graduate programs, your job that you're going to apply to, that's going to be the type of person that you want to be. But if you just want to do research to just put a little check mark on your resume that you did research, and you're just, just barely learning your techniques, you're barely going over your protocols, it's not going to be worth your time.
Preach. Damn. God damn, these advices are really good.
Thank you. Oh God, school. I think that your undergrad is not only just figuring out what you want to do with your life and following your passions, but to figure out who you are as a person, because these are 4 years for you to grow into a version of yourself that your 18-year-old self wouldn't even recognize. But while you're in school, honestly, it's not the end of the world if you submit an assignment late and you have to take a couple point deductions, because killing yourself trying to meet a deadline is not going to be worth the toll that it's going to take on your mental health. And so always talk to your professors. They're pretty understanding for the most part. And just always ask. There's no harm in asking,
I don't know why, but immediately I was like, yes, you're right. It doesn't hurt to ask. Completely random. But every time I go to Chipotle, I always ask, can I get a discount? And it works. It really works. One time I went to Chipotle and I asked, and the lady that was the cashier wasn't even supposed to be at that, I think, station. So she looked around. She looked to her left. She looked to her right. And then she looked at me. She said, take it. Just take it. And so I was like, okay.
Like it never hurts to ask.
Yeah, really. It never hurts to ask. Everywhere you go, always ask. You're talking about school. I'm talking about discounts on stuff, but that advice is applicable to everywhere you go.
Everything.
And literally everything. Well, thank you, Jenny Wong, for being a guest on today's episode. It was such a delight talking to you, catching up with you, catching up on life. If my followers want to follow you, where can they find you?
So my Instagram is Jenny_Wong321. That's the same thing for like my Twitter, which I don't really use, TikTok, same thing for my Snapchat, same thing for my Venmo.
Ooh.
Venmo me because I'm a broke college student, but it's fine.
What about Cash App? Get on the Cash App. Cash App, please sponsor us, please.
Okay. Have you seen that thing about like Cash App and Venmo being regional?
No.
Because I feel like everyone on the West Coast uses Venmo, but I feel like people in like the East Coast, the South, and Texas, I hear a lot of them using Cash App.
Well, Cash App is becoming more prominent, but I don't think it's beating Venmo. I've been using Venmo. I've been a Venmo girl since my undergrad days, and I'm a ride or die kind of bitch, so I've been using Venmo ever since.
But yeah, anyway, that's my Venmo too. So you just wanted to buy me coffee one day, I would appreciate it because I drink so much caffeine, it's so bad. Like my best friend Jason yells at me all the freaking time for it.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jenny, and I hope you have a great day.
You too. All right, bye, love. Thank you all for listening.
Bye, y'all.